If you're looking to add some extra light to the front end of your Jeep or other off-road vehicle, today we're going to show you how to get these Rigid Industries D-Series Pro lights installed onto your vehicle, as well as get them wired up, so stay tuned. These Rigid D-Series Pro lights feature up to 102% more output from the past Rigid models. They feature a new black circuit board, all brand new Rigid logos, as well as a durable 50,000 hour plus runtime. It includes the wiring harness, all the bolts and hardware to get them mounted, and everything that you need to get them onto your off-road vehicle. Now in our case, we're going to get it bolted up to a 2018 two-door JL Wrangler and show you guys exactly how to get it wired up, so let's get started. Tools you need for this installation: half-inch box wrench, plastic trim removal tool, basic wiring equipment, a drill, quarter-inch drill bit, and a step bit. First thing we're going to do is get our Rigid light bolted up onto our winch bumper. Now this is the most universal thing that you can put onto your vehicle. We've got a winch bumper on our JL, and all you need to do is put that through, washer and lock nut on the back side. Then we're going to get it tightened up with a half-inch ratchet wrench. Now do the same on the other side. Grab the included harness, and what you're going to do is plug the Deutsch connector into your Rigid light. Do that on both sides. Now what you're left with is a longer cable from the other side. It goes into a single red and black here with some added length onto it. To get that tucked in, I'm on the driver's side of the Jeep. I'm going to run it in between the fender flare and the grille. So see how I kind of get this up and tucked out of the way? And I'm just going to pull on the grille slightly and it tucked behind there. So now you can't see it. All these wires up front we're going to have zip tied once we have everything completely installed the right way. So that's the way I like to do it, up and out of the way. You don't have to pull anything off of that grill to get it done. So we've actually got the wire for the battery terminal run along that front firewall, tucked it in behind these two. It takes a 10mm bolt to get those off. And now before we connect our two terminals to the battery, I'm going to pull our 15 amp fuse out of there. Now this will take away any power that goes through this entire system. We won't have to worry about burning up the switch or the lights or anything like that. So now I'm going to get both of these terminals hooked up to the positive and negative side. So these are going to take a 10mm socket to get them off. Put one right like that. Tuck it below our existing winch line. That way it holds it on because it is a little bit bigger of a loop. Exact thing, 10mm socket to get that nut pulled off. I'm going to do the same thing. Pop it right underneath that winch cable. Set that back over top. Get the nut right back on. Pull that out. And now, with this all connected, we can pull some slack out over there, which we're going to have to use to go inside the cab to make sure we have enough distance to wire to get to that switch that's included with the kit. To get this wiring through the firewall of your JL Wrangler, go to the driver's side right next to the brake booster, and you'll see a plastic grommet. I would suggest going to the inside of your vehicle. It'll be right to the top left. So right between where your brake pedal or clutch pedal would be, I'm going to drill it out with a 1/4-inch bit and then make it a little bit bigger with a step bit. That way we can get our wiring through to the inside of our cab. Okay. Now I'm going to feed the wires through that hole that we just drilled. That way we have them on the inside of the cab. Start pulling apart some trim in there and get it wired up. Now we'll just slowly feed it down through. That way we've got the wiring inside of our JL. All right guys, so we're to the inside of the cab. We've got our wires run into here for the switch. Now for the switch location, that's really up to you. However, I found that a really good spot. I've already pulled apart this dash and made sure that there's clearance is right underneath here. So you've got your speaker tray here. It's kind of that cover, and then you've got your headlight switch right here. That'll all pop out, and the best location is right around in here. You can put a couple switches too if you want, but that's going to be my go-to. It's right through where we just drilled, kind of a straight shot. So let's get this panel pulled off with this plastic pry bar and also get this removed. I'm starting at the bottom, and they're literally just push tabs. If you've had a JK, it's kind of the same thing, just a little bit different shape for it. Just be nice and gentle. And it'll all pop off nicely for you. And now we can pull that out of the way. To get the headlight switch bezel out of there, there's actually 4 metal retention clips. 1 here, 2 up top, 2 on the bottom. So get that plastic pry bar right in there. And you can see we've got that top one pulled. Now just be careful with this because it is a 2-piece design. So I've got the top popped out. I'm going to get this into the bottom. Do the same thing. And work its way all the way over. And there you go. Push on that red push pin. It's all disconnected, so now we can see right where we're drilling. Not going to interfere with anything, and we get that hole drilled. Okay guys, now is the most important part, drilling into your dash. We've got that popped out, and if you look back there, you can see where you've got clearance. Now the switch is going to poke through a little bit, so you don't want to do it too close up here, or it's going to bottom out and you're not going to have enough room for the wiring. So I'm going to go straight down through to where the center of that headlight switch is, go down about 1.5 inches and drill my pilot hole. Once again, slow and steady for this. No reason to crack your dash or anything. And make sure your dash isn't really cold, so this helps have it in a garage. That way you're not going to crack any of the plastics. Now that I've got that drilled, I'm going to move up to a step bit and just keep working it through until I get the right size for that rigid switch. Now we're going to use that step bit. We reamed that hole out to, let me get some measurements here on the step bit, a 13/16 inch hole. So if you guys have the right size bit, use a 13/16. However, step bit works perfectly, and I'm sure this is more common to have in your toolbox than a 13/16. Now to feed the wire, you're going to do it right in between the speaker grill and the metal dash. You can see I can actually feel the wire there, pull it back and forth. And that's going to be a perfect spot to do it. You can look in through this headlight bezel that you just pulled out and actually see it coming up through. So it's pretty simple once you get it up there. And now I'm going to get this connected to the switch and show you how to do that as well. So guys, here's the wiring diagram for the included rigid switch. The top post is going to be the gold one. That's going to get both of the black wires or the single ground. The middle wire is going to get the red wire that has a little piece of black heat shrink on it that's going to go in the center. And then the bottom is going to get the red wire. So it's pretty important to wire it up that way or else it will not work. And if you have everything together, it can be a real pain in the butt. So here we go guys. Black wire goes to the top. Make sure it's firmly seated on there. The red wire with that black piece of heat shrink goes right into the center. Same thing, make sure it's firmly seated. And then just that red wire is going to go on the bottom. So I'm going to go out, put that fuse back in, make sure this works. Okay guys, fuse is in, see if these work. There you have it, the lights are on the garage wall. You can see there's a red illumination light. It's pretty nice with these rigid switches. You're able to tell if it's on. Now the final customization step that you can make when you put this on is to either have it twisted, so you have to push it down to turn it on, or push it up. So that's completely up to you guys. It's nice being a round switch. You can do whichever you'd like. All right guys, well that's a wrap on how to install these D-Series Pro lights onto the front end of your JL Wrangler and also use their included wiring harness to get it completely wired up without having to use anything else. Now if you don't want to drill into your dash or are leery of doing so, we offer the Mopar auxiliary switch system here as well as a trigger system. That way you don't have to cut into your factory dash and run any wiring. It's super simple to do. There's also install videos on those. With these being on, I figured it would be a good time to put these D-Series light covers on. They're in green, matching our Mojito. They're also available in any other color. Let's get them clipped on. And I'll see you guys out on the trail.